What's going on, everyone? Welcome to a brand new Siser After Dark. I wanted to open this up a little monotone because of the absolute insanity that I have for you today of crafting beyond HTV. So hold on, let me try again. Ready? Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Crafting After Dark. I am your host, Patrick Ali, lead educator here at Siser. If you haven't seen any of these already, what I would do, and if you're on YouTube right now after this has been posted, and maybe we're not live anymore, make sure that you go back into the playlist. Check out from the beginning where we go over machines. We talked about software so far. Taught you guys how to set up files. We've taught you everything that there needs to be about print and cut. And what I'm really happy about is I get to watch the comments come in a little bit as we're, kind of preparing and getting ready to do these after darks. And I saw an awesome one from somebody that basically was just asking the whole, I use the bug currently, so it's really hard for me to transition over to Leonardo, or I'm finding a little bit of trouble with it. Well, guess what, my friend? That's exactly what these lives are for, to teach you everything that you need to know and hopefully go beyond what we think is creative in the world, or hopefully we get to teach you a thing or two, as I like to say. So today is an interesting one. I got pretty much an empty room. Besides the two After Dark warriors are in the room right now. The grammatical gatekeeper himself, the Sultan of Syllables. You guys know him. You love him. Standing in at 7 foot 8 inches tall, 45 pounds soaking wet. It's Adam Sneath. Say hi, Adam.
Hey, everyone.
That was a good intro, though, right?
I'm not actually that tall.
No, that's fine. He's not actually that tall, but, we're on, the camera, so we look bigger and taller than we actually are. I actually had somebody tell me at a show one time, they're like, wow, you're a lot shorter in person. I was like, thanks, appreciate it. So anyways, today's a fun live because, again, like I said, we're going to kind of put down the heat transfer vinyl for this live. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you some other use cases and some other fun craft ideas, whether you're starting a business or you're just doing this stuff for a hobby. I got plenty of people over in the comments. Not only is Adam monitoring your comments today to answer any questions, make sure that we're bringing some questions in. I saw Pat Boyle from our sales team in there. I know Maya's watching. I know Anna's out there watching. Everybody's kind of watching around. So we'll make sure to get all your questions answered. And I'm just going to do a shout out to our first person in the live today. That was Roseanne Heller. I saw her comment pop in first. So if you ever get an opportunity to watch the lives live, make sure that you comment first, because from now on, maybe I'll just shout you out because it's fun to do. So hello, everyone. Now, here's what we're going to do for the live today. First, we're going to start out. I grabbed some convenient little magnet sheets. Okay, so these are self-adhesive magnet sheets. I'm going to show you that deep cut blade we talked about in the Juliet and the Romeo we just recently launched. We're going to cut some magnet sheets. We're going to actually use Easy Color DTV today, not for the use case that you normally would. We're actually not going to heat apply it. We're going to use that to print our design with our crop marks. Then we're going to transfer that using some holographic laminate. So we're going to use holographic laminate as our transfer tape to get the DTV and a beautifully laminated magnet on over to our magnet sheet, adhere it, send it over to the Juliet to cut out our design, and I'll show you what we're making today already as we get started. Here we go. So this is what we're going to actually be making today, which will be really, really fun. You can see that has a really cool holographic on it, laminate over top. So this would be a real fun project. The next thing that we're going to be showing you, so we're going to do a little bit of a palette cleanser by doing a fun paper craft together. So I'm going to actually show you guys how to make a shadow box. And if you've ever seen anybody here at Siser making shadow boxes, you guys know we love our shadow boxes and how to make them. This is a really great example of something we're going to similarly make, but we're going to keep it Mother's Day themed because we know Mom's Day is coming up. And then finally, after that little break, we'll do that. We'll call it a crafting break. What we're going to do is we're going to jump into something really, really fun. Not only am I going to show you how to use some sublimation markers in a little bit different way than you probably used to, we're going to actually use the Juliet. I kind of discovered on accident something today, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So because the room's kind of empty, we're going to go rogue at the end of this. And I have something really, really awesome that you're not going to want to miss. So please, for this one, stick around to the end. Make sure after this live goes out, once we repost this over on our YouTube playlist, this is one you're going to want to share and grab the timestamp of the end of this video. I promise you. But to get us started, let's just dive right into Leonardo today. Unless we got any big questions coming up front, let's dive over into Leonardo right away so that we can start kind of making some stuff. Do we got anything just up front? Perfect. Okay, so a couple things we're going to be using for this first project. Number one, I'm going to be using some handy dandy easy color DTV. Here's the reason why. I wanted to use regular computer paper just to be able to print this and put it on a self-adhesive. However, regular computer paper is not as vibrant and as bright as easy color DTV. So this is going to be a really simple way that if you don't have a heat press to apply, this is another fun craft idea that you're going to be able to do. Again, I told you we already have some self-adhesive magnet material that we're also going to do, and then we're also going to be using our Juliet for this project. So to get us started, we're going to hop directly into Leonardo Design Studio, and I want to go on over to the actual design library. You can tell I've been looking up a bunch of stuff today. But for this one, we're just going to go teacher, because I want to do something teacher appreciation. We want to do something fun for the teachers. Actually, let me see. Let me just do school. So I want to find that same design that we had earlier. And if you guys didn't know, with Leonardo Design Studio, whether you have basic or you have pro, all of these designs in here are royalty free. So you are commercial free, I'm sorry. So you can use them to your advantage. You can sell them. You can do whatever you want with them. But we hope we can show you how to kind of modify one of these designs. So I'm going to pick this crayon design like we have that I showed you in the preview. We're going to hit open design, and what this will do for anybody new to Leonardo, this will bring our design right on over to our design page. And from here, here's where I can kind of start to modify this design. Now, for me personally, no offense to anybody out there, I don't have a Miss Mackenzie that's a part of our school. So I'm actually asked permission from one of our awesome teachers, Mrs. Roach over at our local school, if I could use her name for the sake of this live. So we're going to use Mrs. Roach's name, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to create and modify something. So as you can see, already right off the bat, I'm using that eraser tool in software that we've talked about before. The eraser tool is a really great tool because not only once I click on it, do I have a square style tip, or I can use a rounded style tip, as you can see there on the screen, but I also can adjust the size of how big that eraser piece will be. Okay, so that's really the big benefit, and I'm really happy with it. So with that, I've already erased out the name. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into our normal text tool, and I'm going to type in Miss Roach, because that is the name that we're going to be using for this. And I can go and scroll through a million bajillion fonts in my font library. The other cool part about Leonardo, just because we're on this font library, is that all of these fonts are ones that I've downloaded from other sources. We don't have any of those system-specific fonts. So we're not trying to, when you buy our product, we're not trying to sell you on, we have more assets for you. What we want is we want some consistency in your life. We want you to be able to find and use the tools that you have access to. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bold this text. And then now I have my name here, and all I got to really do is just fit this in. This is going to be a really fun, quick, easy project. A lot of you guys right now, kids are going to last day of school is coming up. These are awesome, quick little teacher gifts that you guys can make. Throw them in a nice little gift bag, and your teachers will love it, because I'm just going to get close and personal on this one. Let's face it. For all my teachers out there, I know you love the gifts, but you guys have more mugs than you probably know what to do with. You have more tote bags than t-shirts than you know what to do with, at least with a magnet, something that's useful in the classroom this year. So maybe this is a cool, fun project you can do for the fun teacher in your life. Now, what I'm going to do, since I have the Mrs. Roach all organized and ready to go, I'm simply going to hit Control G, which will group all of my design together. But if I don't have, or if I don't want to use the hotkey Control then G to group, I can always right-click my design, and you'll see there's my group option right there for you in a one-click easy step, okay? So from here, my platform on Leonardo, I keep it to a standard 16 by 20. So because we're going to start actually doing a print and cut, I'm going to change my artboard size to an 8.5. Whoops. Let's do this. Make sure I hit numlock. 8. What are we doing here? Let's see. None of my keyboard isn't working. Did I break my keyboard? Oh, good news, Adam. Keyboard died. That's all right. No, it's good for that one. I'll use my regular one. Sorry, keyboard died, guys. I was thinking that something was going on. Total user error. So Now that I have my artboard built to an 8.5 by 11 sheet, okay, which is just standard printer paper size, I can start to organize my design on the page itself. Now for me, what I want to do, because I know that the magnet sheets that we're using are a 4x6, what I actually want to do is I want to make sure that these are going to fit within a 4x6 design. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up a normal square, and I'm going to unlock my square right here under the properties menu, and then I'll be able to change now that 6 by 4 inches tall. And now I know exactly how big my magnet sheet is because I've kind of templated this for myself, okay? So what I'm going to do is pull this off to the side and change the color to something that I'm going to know or remember is that it's not matching anything in my design, or I can simply hit stroke and just see the outline of that template, okay? So from here, what I'm going to do is just simply organize the Mrs. Roach, and I want to fit this in a way that I can maximize the space of this printable here. So, of this magnet. And then once I'm done, I'm just going to highlight everything, and I want to center my design. Now, the reason why I'm centering my design is not necessarily because I'm going to use this box anymore. This one, we're going to pull that off to the side and we'll delete it. I just like to make sure that when I actually have my design print and cut ready, that even the registration marks will fit. So I like to give myself a little bit of room around the edges so I can fit those registration marks in there, and then I can ultimately have everything cut all at once. So the next step, or actually, you know what, before we move on, do we have any questions? Am I going too fast right now?
I do have one question
okay,
here.
Let's answer the questions really quick first.
Tina says, I have some Siser material, but not equipment. My equipment is Cricut. Will this still work for me?
100%. Now, you do have to check, depending on what Cricut you have, just so you know, the magnet material that we're using today, I mean, this is like less than, this isn't even like 1 millimeter thick from my understanding. So you just have to make sure you have the appropriate tool with your Cricut. But the good news is here at Siser, all materials that we manufacture, all materials that we carry, not only will work in a Romeo and a Juliet, it works in a Cricut, it works in a Silhouette, Brother Scan and Cut. And for anybody out there that wants to know the comparison between all three cutters, not only do we have an awesome YouTube video that's coming out very soon. I just got to rewatch the final, and I'm super excited about it. We have a video that's coming out very soon where I've actually compared the Juliet to the Cricut Explorer 4, as well as the Cameo 5. And then secondly to that, the next After Dark is going to be all about cutter comparisons. So you're going to want to stick around for that. Do you have any other questions?
One more that just came in. Is it true that you can use the mat from Cricut?
Oh, that is very true. So the nice thing is about our system too, and here's the thing. You guys have a lot of those third-party mats that you're already using if you're a Cricut user or Silhouette user. So mats are pretty much universal for every cutter. The difference is that, Cricut has gone into some bigger form of mats, like bigger mats. But you can use, whether it's a mat or matless, it doesn't matter what brand it is. As long as it works for you, it works for us. I will say some mats, if you are a Silhouette user and you've used a Cricut mat in the past, you know that there's definitely a thickness difference. So you may have to adjust some of your cut settings depending on what mat you're using, but that's usually bringing the force up 1 or down 1, not really having to do a lot of adjustments, but it's just something to mention, just so you guys have that information. Any other ones? Awesome. All right, let's hop back in. So now that we've sized our design and everything's ready to go, what I'm going to do next is we just need to convert this to a print then cut image. So I'm going to highlight my whole design or select my whole design. I'm going to come down to the build contour menu, and we're going to hit build contours. Now this menu is great because not only can I create a editable contour, meaning like a vector file if I want to add a background to this, but in this case, we're actually going to use this as a print and cut to cut the border of our design to make a really nice magnet. Think of, for any of my sticker makers out there, same concept. We're just using a different medium. That's all. So I'm going to go ahead and keep increasing that offset until I get a really nice contour that seems pretty even. Now, that's also something to kind of talk about just briefly. When we're adding a contour to anything, especially if it has some sharper edges, understanding our material that we're going to be cutting and how that's going to work with a sharp edge is also important, because what I wouldn't want you guys to do is go and try this on your own and then get upset with me because it's not cutting appropriately. That's why as I'm building out that contour, I'm not only making sure that I get a real good solid line, but I'm also making sure there's not a lot of really sharp, quick edges, because sometimes with thicker materials, the edges of the detail just isn't there. So, but with this one, we're going to be okay. I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that as we're kind of going through this process. So hopping back in, I'm just going to continue to adjust, and all I'm looking for is a little bit more of an offset, which I think that's going to be good. And then I simply hit apply. And as you can see with our registration marks, not only if I were to zoom all the way out on this page, can I snap our registration marks all the way to the edge of our page, but if I actually choose to deselect page marks, I can actually have that crop mark live right up next to my design, which in this case, as we just explained, is going to be really important for the next step to make sure that whole image fits within that 4x6 card. So the other thing I want to do is I do see that looks like one of my registration marks are sort of rolling into one of my contours. So what I can do is actually adjust the mark spacing, and we're going to do 0.0135. Let's see if we can get it just outside, or 114. There we go. A little bit more. So let's go 0.25. A little too far. See, that's the fun part about designing too, is it's always the trial and error. 199. Let's see. That should work for us. Even if we hang off a little bit, I'll show you guys how to fix that. So with that, I now have my registration marks built. So just to kind of backtrack a little bit, we brought in our design first. We then built a contour around it after we've sized it to a template. And now we're just adjusting our pinch wheels, or not our pinch wheels, I'm sorry, our registration marks, so that it's not overlapping our physical design itself, okay? So from there, actually, let me go just slightly under. Let's go 0.018. All right, so I'm spending too much time on this design. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. Okay, cool. We're going to be good with this one. So now the next step, what I'm going to do is simply hit send design, okay? So when I send this design, what's really nice inside Leonardo Design Studio is that it actually is separating, obviously, my print, which will be what has my registration marks, as well as the corresponding contour. Now, for this one, I've already selected to use my cutter settings, because over on the Juliet, we'll have to make some adjustments, and we always want to make sure we do our test cuts there first. But in the event that I already know my cut settings, I can deselect this and add in all of my custom settings if I need to, okay? But for this one, we're simply going to do a quick print. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load up my printer, and just so you guys know, because I get a lot of questions on this, for us in the studio and at Siser, we use a lot of the Epson EcoTank printers. I just find that they're really convenient. They have a self-cleaning service. They maintenance themselves. The inks very rarely run dry because you also have those bottles, and they're much cheaper to refill those. But I want to definitely make mention that in the very near future, we may be having some kind of ink that works really well with these. I don't know. It's just a little birdie told me, but look out for that here hopefully in the near future. So inside Leonardo, the next thing that I'm going to do is just simply select my printer, and then I'm going to hit send to printer. Now I've already done a quick little test print for me. Let me make sure that I'm not printing on the back side of my DTV. There we go. And then just like that, I now have, go on the overhead here for you. I now have my print. And the reason why, again, I'm using Easy Color DTV is let me actually run this same print on a regular piece of computer paper, because I do want to show you what the comparison difference is going to be from Easy Color to a piece of computer paper. And this is the reason why I decided to go with something a little bit more vibrant. So right there, you can see this side is way more muted, and also the like semi-transparency of the paper itself obviously makes it a little bit tricky for me when we are going to go to register. So again, that's really the big reason why I like to do that. So what I'm going to do from here now is I'm going to just set down my Easy Color DTV. And then I already have a piece of holographic laminate. Now, I bought this pack. I want to say I bought it on Amazon, actually. But this pack has a ton of different laminates that are available. These ones are some like star laminates in there. There's some crystal laminates and some solid laminates. So the nice thing about the Juliet and the Romeo high definition cutter is actually that even with laminate film over top of your stickers or DTV or any process you're working with, you can rest assured that those prints are going to still come out and they're going to register appropriately. So Next step is I just want to kind of cut my laminate to size. I'm going to go ahead and just put my laminate behind my DTV so that I can see a little bit through the back. And we're just going to make sure that we cut off just enough that we need, because we can save the rest of this for neck labels. We can save the laminate for stickers. We can save this for a lot of different things. So have a piece of DTV, definitely not wasted. I can actually grab a Sharpie and I can label all my kids back to school stuff next year. And as you guys already know, I mean, school is over in a couple weeks. So that means that back to school starts in 4 weeks already, or maybe it's already in retail. I don't know if you've seen a bunch of it, Adam, or not, but I'm already seeing back to school up.
Not yet, thankfully. They're just now putting out the 4th of July stuff.
There we go. Okay, good. So we're on now the retail calendar. We're on 4th of July right now. So with that, I have my easy color DTV and I have my laminate sheet. This is going to be the easiest part of this process for you guys, because much like a sticker, I'm just simply going to use this laminate as a transfer tape, putting it adhesive side down on my DTV print. And it doesn't matter if I don't cover the whole DTV. I just want to make sure that within my registration marks and my actual image are what's covered when we're doing this. So I'm going to go ahead, just give it a little burnish. And here's where the magic happens and where the fun happens. I'm going to take off the backing to my magnet sheet. So this is sticky now. Then I'm going to just simply remove my easy color page or my easy color sheet with the holographic laminate from the backer. And much like a sticker, I'm just going to simply apply this. I think it's going to fit better this way. There we go. There it is. And I'm just going to simply apply it to my magnet sheet. So I'm not worried about some of the overhang. I'm really just wanting to register those crop marks and then be able to actually contour cut out this design. So give it a little burnish. And then the very last step, what we're going to go ahead and do after we get all of those bubbles out, if there are any, is we're going to grab ourselves a little cutting mat, or actually just bring you guys right on over to the cutter. Since my cutting mat's already loaded, just going to bring out my cutting mat just a little bit. And for this particular project, what I'm doing is I'm actually going to bring my pinch wheels, as you can see, kind of out of the way of this magnet sheet so it can just flow inside the cutter in the open space itself while I'm actually cutting. Now, the cool part is that with the Juliet and the Romeo is that you can actually adjust those pinch wheels where you don't necessarily have the convenience in all cutters. So it really gives you a lot of opportunity and options if you want that. Let me get this one little bubble out. Cool. And then now I'm simply going to place my blade in the bottom left registration mark. So just inside that bottom left registration mark. If you haven't yet and you're watching the replay or you're watching this live, make sure that you head over to our YouTube channel and get yourself involved with the video that we did, or the After Dark that we did, where I go over all of the print and cut options for you. All right, so now that that's loaded, the next thing that I'm going to do in software, and I'll show you this really quickly, is I'm going to grab that cut file now, and then I'm simply going to hit send to cutter. And then for this, I'm going to advance it to the end of my cut. So once this is done registering and cutting, it will actually advance to the end of my cut. So you can see right now it's registering in real time, even with a holographic laminate. And now it's going through and it's contour cutting out my entire design for me. Alrighty, and just like that, we have officially made a fun little magnet. Let's bring this on over to the overhead and we can take on some questions while I'm kind of peeling this off. Do we have any questions coming in?
There was a good question that I just typed in here, but from Kelly, how do you smooth the contour?
Meaning, like, oh, if you have like a really rigid contour. Okay, so there's a couple ways to do that. Number one, Kelly, what you can do, and I'll show that in software here. I'll show you the final result of our little laminate sticker with Mrs. Roach's name on it. I think that'll be, or not laminate sticker, sorry, magnet. I'm forgetting what class I'm teaching right now. But right there, and you can also see really, really well, all of the contour is like perfectly aligned and in the center of the actual design itself, which is really nice. So we got a really good cut out of that one. All right, so smoothing out a contour. Let's hop into software really quick, and I want to show you that, Kelly. So in something like this, what we can do just for the start, and let me actually make this not a print then cut anymore. And then I'm going to go ahead and just ungroup it and pull off the, there we go. Okay. So there's two ways. Number one, the first and foremost, the easiest way is when you're in the build contours menu and you're building your print and cut, try to get it to a point where you're not seeing so much rigidity in your line. Now, in some cases that's difficult, right? Because this contour directly correlates with the outside of the design itself. So if the design happens to be a little bit rigid and wavy, also your contour is going to be. But as you see, I get to a point when I'm clicking through to ensure that I have a really nice smooth path around that design. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is if you have, let's just hit apply really quick, and I'm going to separate these two right there, and then we'll eliminate print and cut. The other option is when we have a line, let's say that we have some rigidity here, I can double click that line and we actually can adjust some of the individual nodes to help smooth out that piece or that contour of our design. So two different ways that you can kind of make that happen. It just depends on whatever way is easiest for you personally, okay? Alrighty, any other questions that are coming in?
Which blade are you using to do this project?
Yes, so as I mentioned just before we got started too, I'm using the deep cut blade, which is a new blade that we just recently launched here at Siser. It's actually a blade that has a green tip to it. So normally with any Siser products, like if you get the cutter, you'll get two different style blades, a 45-degree blade, which is indicated with a red cap, and then a 60-degree blade, which is indicated with a blue cap. Now, what I did and what I like to do is I like to take like the little safety piece off the tip of the blades, and I just pop them right on the top of my blade housing. Makes my life easier, then I never really have to think about it. But the new one is the green cap, which is the 60-degree deep cut blade, or as I like to call the 60+ blade. That's it. Alrighty, what other questions do we have?
One more here.
Yeah.
Why didn't the DTV need to be heat pressed?
So the DTV didn't need to be heat pressed only because we're going on this magnet material already has adhesive to it. So don't need to heat apply it to anything. So that was the big goal for this whole project, right? We're going outside of the world of HTV. We're trying to find other methods to be able to create fun things without necessarily needing the equipment of a heat press and stuff. If you do have a magnet material, however, that doesn't have an adhesive to it, definitely find yourself some of that if you can. But if you don't have that, you can still probably heat apply the DTV, but you're going to want to go on a lot lower temperature than you normally will or would with a normal shirt application. But I would also just test a small piece. That's my biggest advice. Test a small piece if you are going to heat apply. This just makes it easier because I can kind of seal that in between the laminate and that adhesive itself. So hopefully that answered the question. Alrighty, any other ones? Awesome. All right. I know we got some people in there answering too, so that works. Okay. Next, funsy projects. We're going to kind of reset our brain for a second, and we're going to get into another fun one. Now, I've cut all the pieces out of this because as a paper crafter, you guys know sometimes some of these designs take a little bit longer, and there's also kind of an application or a building piece to this. So I'm going to hop on the overhead, and I want to show you something really, really fun. This is for anybody that doesn't know much about paper crafting. The shadow boxes, as I showed you early on, are really fun projects to put together. Not only are they cool when you make them, but they're really easy actually to put together because you're really just cutting paper instead of, a vinyl where you might have to weed it and all that other stuff to make this happen. But you also can get that real cool 3-dimensional look and that raised effect with it if you do it on something like a flat board. But if you do it in something like a shadow box, you can really get dimension and a lot of depth to it. I think this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different layers to make up this shadow box. So it's really, really cool, fun project to do. So let's do one ourselves. And I've already kind of cut all the pieces out. And this is for Mom's Day coming up soon. But this is what the final result will look like. But I want to show you, once you have each individual layer cut out, let me lay this all out for you. There we go. So on here, we have each individual layer of this project kind of laid out on the table. And this is basically step 1 to step 4. Now, I did a really simple one so that we could put it together quickly, but this will be your backing. Normally, the most detail is going to be whatever is in the front of the design. So the way that these paper crafts work is that when you build the shadow box, I'm just going to take a little piece of double-sided foam adhesive. So the reason why I'm using this is not only will it adhere to both sides of my project, but it also it will raise up each layer a little bit as we get further in the progression of this project. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just cut a couple little tiny pieces out. And we're just going to start slowly building this thing together. And feel free to ask any questions if you guys have any while we're kind of working through this project. Now, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I have coverage on all four corners. That's the most important, to make sure that all of the edges of my design are lined up so that each piece will kind of fall into place properly. But the other thing I want to do is pick some strategic spots in each layer that can help with some of that structure too. So I got the middle, I got all the edges or corners covered up, but because this design is going to fall straight on top of this, what I want to do is maybe put a piece underneath where this will go, maybe here, just to add some added support to this actual thing. So what I'll do is, instead of me applying it to this, I'll go ahead and take this piece, flip it on over, and I can apply that to where I need to within this design as well. Alrighty. Let's do that. Let's go ahead and get those going. And we can make this really, really fast and convenient. All right. Now, what I'm going to simply do is I'm going to take one piece of paper, butt it up against the other, and this will help me to kind of line up all of the edges. There we go. There we go. Cool, cool, and cool, cool. So there we go. So we got one layer already done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of speed through all the other layers, and I'm going to actually apply those to the back of this one, because as each layer starts to build up, we start to get more pieces that that are a little bit weaker than others. So let's go ahead through here. Alrighty. So let's take one piece there, one piece there. Now, are there any, that's the other good question for the group, are there any paper crafters that are out there right now? And what kind of paper crafts do you tend to do? What are some of your favorite ones that you're currently doing today? And does anybody have any fun Mother's Day projects? That's the other big question. All righty. Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
So I already answered Sarah's question here, but I thought it might be helpful just to add it.
Yeah, do it
here. She was asking if it's okay to use the 60-degree blade for cutting thinner materials like easy read and cardstock, because she personally finds it works better for her. And we like to say generally, like, yeah, there's no issues with doing that, especially if you're going for that finer detail, which the 60-degree blade is better at. And that's its bread and butter. For that 60-degree blade, it is about that fine, intricate detail. And the other thing too, with the 60-degree is if you walk around our office and ask everybody in there, I feel like most people use a 60-degree blade by default. And really, it's just because a lot of what we're cutting is some finer detail, or we need a little bit sharper edge to get through things like Adam was saying, like a paper craft, right? So it makes it really, really convenient. And that's why for me personally, why I love so much the new deep cut blade, is because not only do I have a 60-degree blade, but I also have a thicker blade so that I can get through some of this more rigid material, or maybe materials that are a little harder to cut through, but I can still ensure the longevity of that blade itself. So let's go ahead and apply each corner down just to make sure that everything is even Steven. It's a little throwback. There we go. Alrighty. So now I have second piece of my design, or the third layer of my design, done. And now all I'm doing is I'm just going to work the last part of my design. So I'm going to go ahead and go a little bit faster on this one, because Adam's already warned me. He's got stuff to do after this. So, and I know Anna's probably sitting there shaking too, waiting for me to wrap up my projects. But I like having fun with you guys. That's all. All right. Go ahead and put that one on. We're just going to speed through this here so that we can get on to, like I said, I have something I want to show you guys. And I think I'm just going to skip the sublimation pen for this one, because I think that this is really important. I want to really show you guys another use case for your Siser blade holder specifically that you probably didn't think about. And you probably have a lot of these items laying around your house already. That you can actually use that 60-degree, or I mean, not that 60-degree, but that blade housing by itself for. And it's just, something small I wanted to show you guys. I think it's really cool, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So
let's go ahead and wrap up this project. I'm going to pull the last few edges, or last few pieces of adhesive backing off of here. All righty, and let's do that. And let's do this, that one, and that one. Adam, do you do a lot of paper crafting personally?
I don't. I really want to, actually. I've seen some really awesome projects out there, and a lot of them aren't that difficult.
No, they definitely seem simplistic to do, for sure. What's one that you've seen that you've been like, oh my God, I don't know if I can even accomplish that one just yet?
I saw these, I guess you could call it like bookbinding, with cardstock. And,
oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, and using multiple layers, kind of like the shadow box, to get really cool effects.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. That would be cool. The other one that always trips me up that I really love seeing, but I mean, they're so hard to do, is the hats, like the 3-dimensional paper crafts. You know, there's a lot of people that make like the full big letters and everything out of paper, and it's insane. I don't know how it's done, and I really want to try it really bad. All righty, so now that we're done, next thing is we grab our shadow box, and I'm just going to flip it upside down. What we're going to do is we're going to take our design here, full design. We're going to just plop it right down into the shadow box. And there's also some things that I can do, like I can stuff this a little bit to make it a little bit more prominent to the front. But for the sake of this time, we're going to go ahead and put that in. And then that side. And then just like that, you guys can see my awesome little shadow box that we're doing for Mom for Mother's Day this year. Thought that's pretty cool. What do you guys think about that one? All righty. Who I just caught somebody that said that my favorite paper craft was a nutcracker. That would be a fun one to do. But also MVU for taking the time, because some of those, I know some of those paper crafts can get super elaborate. Super elaborate. Okay. So here's what you guys have all been waiting for. Here's what we're all here to see. And I want to test this out with you live, because again, this is something that I kind of just stumbled upon today in my frustration with making some fun projects in the office to myself. But did you know the Siser blade holder can be used for more than just a blade? I want to show you guys how this works. So as most of you know, we came out with a marker adapter for our Siser sublimation markers, okay? I'm going to bring this on in the overhead. So traditionally, we have this marker adapter, fits these triangular style sublimation markers, works beautifully, right? The other cool part about these marker adapters as well, do I have like a regular barrel style Bic pen that you have? These also fit if you put them in and give them a little bit of a twist and push them through. They also work really well with that. Well, what if I want to go beyond the world of, sublimation markers and just the Bic pens? Maybe the kids at the house have some of these old style skinny barrel Crayola markers. Well, what are we going to do for that? We know already here at Siser that they don't fit super conveniently inside of the sublimation marker adapter. They will get in there, but they also can kind of split out the sides, a little bit harder to fit them in there and then get them into the machine. Well, let me show you a little trick that I just figured out. You grab a couple Crayolas, you grab a Siser blade holder, grab yourself some just household Scotch tape, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna take off the entire body or the entire guts of our blade holder. And I will tell you in advance before we even get into this, no, it does not void a warranty of any kind, because these are not under any type of warranty. And because this is the OEM piece that goes with our cutter, won't affect you at all. So with that, I'm going to take out the entire housing. So this right here is what traditionally holds my blade. This is kind of what the inside of a blade holder looks like. And then the actual blade housing itself is just basically a hollow piece of metal or aluminum. So what I kind of found out today, you can take one of these Crayolas, you can pop it right in there, and actually the tip of the Crayola barely comes out of the bottom of this. And the nice thing about that is it almost replicates like an actual cutting blade. So next step is that I found out works kind of well. So I can take a piece of Scotch tape, and I'm going to simply put it around my actual blade holder. And again, I know that this is, we'll call this crafty. Some would say that I'm rigging this up, but this is a crafty little way to actually make a new pen holder. Once that tape is there and my marker is in place, I'm just going to simply put my tape and make sure that it sticks to the marker itself. And then if I need it, I can come back with one more piece just to make sure that it sticks to my actual marker. And just like that, we've used the actual blade housing for our regular blades in our Juliet, and we've just used a regular Crayola marker. Now, the big question is though, and I know you're asking it, is it going to actually work? Let's try it out. So I'm going to take my marker now that I have it in the housing itself. We're going to grab let me grab a light tack cutting mat. Oh, you know what? Just because I have it here, and because somebody asked early on, I'm going to use a silhouette mat in this one, just for funsies. Because you guys asked if it can work, so let's try it out, and we'll show you not only can that work, but we show you a really awesome project at the same time. Now I'm going to go ahead and use just a piece of this cardstock that I had. And we're going to just apply it to our mat. Really simple. And then we're going to hop on over to the Juliet. I'm going to load in this silhouette mat. So as you can see with thinner mats, I can just load it right into the cutter with no problem. I'm going to take out my current blade, which is the 60° plus. And now I'm going to add in my new blade housing with my regular Crayola marker. And then we're simply going to just run a quick little test cut on this, just to make sure that we're actually drawing. And we're going to bring down the force all the way down to about 2 to 4. Okay, so anywhere between 2 and 4 is going to give you a really good contact with the actual marker itself, but it also won't, push the marker in so it bleeds a lot and all that kind of crazy stuff. So let's go ahead and make a quick adjustment. I want to bring this middle pinch wheel in just to keep the center down. Let me make sure that's on the wheel. There we go. Cool, cool, and cool. All right. So now I'm going to come down to the bottom of my cut into that bottom left origin. Alrighty. I'm going to hop into Leonardo Design Studio. And let's actually, I was doing some of these fun tests today. I'm going to do 3 different tests for you. Let's go ahead and do, let's just do the 2. So we're going to do one outside contour test, which is going to be the marker test up here in the Dr. Seuss font. And for all my friends out there that love to make cards and need fine line, we're also going to do a single line test as well. I was also testing this with the line fill tool that I'll show you here if we have a couple minutes after. But let's do these 2 because we know that they're going to send over pretty quickly. So let's delete these guys for now. Bring these on down to the origin. And what we're going to simply do, because we have our use cutter settings already available, we've already tested it on our, I think it was on 3 that I tested this on. We got a good positive test. So now let's just send this on over to the cutter and see what happens. So in real time, what you're seeing right now is not only do we have a Crayola marker using their standard Siser blade housing, but we're also running 2 different types of cuts. Number 1, the first one is going to be our fine line cut, and that's just a single line file, so it'll do a regular handwriting. And then the second one is going to be the outside contour of that marker test that we did. So while we're here, though, let's answer any questions that are coming in if we have any.
Not any questions right now, but there's a lot of people excited about this.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm so excited to show you guys what the results look like of this. And the cool thing is that most of you guys at home have multiple, or at this point, have multiple blade housings, or maybe you have more than one. Changing in the colors in and out of these blade housings are not that hard. You just grab another piece of tape, throw it around really quick, and you're good to go. And you can change out your colors as you see fit. What's up, Adam?
Do have a question now. Yeah. How does the Juliet know to write?
Ooh, very good question. Check that out, though. That's awesome. I just wanted to show that because I'm really excited about it. So how does a Juliet know how to write? Let me throw this on the overhead so you can see. So the easy answer for that one, or simple answer for that one, using the software itself or building any of our type of design files. Now, Juliet doesn't know the difference between a if I have a blade in the blade housing or I have a marker in the blade housing right now. So there's no way to identify to say, right, we're running this like it was a normal cut file. Okay, so with the single line test that we just ran, that cut file itself would just cut in a single line with a normal blade, but because we put the marker in, that's why it's drawing. Now, kind of moving into software, I want to show you as we're going to start talking about the line fill tool as well. I can kind of go through this. So number one, I'm sending this like a regular cut. So the pen is going to do exactly what the blade's going to do. Now, in the event that I want to change, say, this cut to a sketch tool, I can change it to a sketch line and tell the system like, hey, I have a marker in there. However, for this one, you can use just your regular cut. You don't have to do that. The other thing is too, is each of our individual tools, like an etch tool, is marked by an orange line. Each is identified by a specific color line, if that makes sense. So did that answer the question? Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm answering that correctly. So now what we're going to do is I want to take a simple fill. So let's go ahead and grab a heart really quick. I want to test this on something live with you guys. If you guys will give me 5 more minutes of your time, I'm going to take a heart. And we're going to delete all of this kind of stuff. And we're really going to push this marker to the limit. Okay, we figured out it will draw my line. But in the event that I add a line fill to this, oops, hit accept. Hold on one second here. Sorry, the internet in the room right now, it's lagging me just a little bit here. Alrighty, while we're waiting for this to catch on up, let me go do a little Control-Alt-Delete action and see if that'll help me out, and then we can hop right back in. Boom, boom, done. Okay. There we go. Okay, so Leonardo's loading up right back up for me so that we can hop back in. I just realized something, and I did this on a live. I think I did this on the first one. I may or may not remember to put in the Ethernet cable to my computer. So we're running a stable stream, and I'm happy with that. Knock on wood. But stick around with me for just a couple more minutes, and we're going to show this process. So hopping back into Leonardo, I'm going to grab a simple heart, bring it on screen, and we're going to bring this to about 3.5 inches. Just because what we want to try to do is I want to see if I can color all of this in. So I'm going to go back to that line fill. And what we're going to do is keep the traditional lines, but I'm going to increase the gap size. I just want to make it a little bit wider than normal. And the reason why I'm doing this is because for like using a pen or a fine tip, that's going to give me just that line that I'm looking for. But what I'm trying to accomplish, we're just trying to push the markers now to the limit, is I'm seeing if I can get enough saturation on a thin line that I can spread that color out and maybe color in this whole heart just using one tool and in one process. So let's go ahead back here. I'm just going to adjust those lines again, give myself a little more detail, hit accept. And now not only do I have my heart here on screen, but I have my lines as well as the outside contour. So let's go ahead and hit send and send this on over to the cutter. Now I got to go ahead really quickly. And we're going to load this right on back up in here. And we're going to do our heart right about there. So we'll go ahead and hit send to cutter. And now, oh yeah, actually, let me do this for you guys too. Sorry. Anytime that you have a different type of tool, it will identify it. Again, for this type of tool, I'm not really worried whether it's a cut contour or an etch tool. I just know for me that when I go over to use cutter settings, that both of these are going to be treated with the same amount of force that they have. So with that, if I want to adjust the force of the etch tool specifically, I will deselect use cutter settings, come down to the etch tool in my tool menu, and then I can change that from 100 down to, again, 3 is what we're using, and a speed of 10 just to be safe. And then I can create that cut tool as well with a force of 3 and a speed of 10. So I know that no matter what setting I'm using, whether I'm using the Juliet specific settings, or I'm using a setting in Leonardo, that it's all going to be the same. So here we go, right on back to the Juliet. Let's go ahead and give it a whirl. Alrighty. Whoops, maybe I should connect my device. Really quickly connected. Good. 180. Oops. Give me one quick second here. 10, 4. I forgot that when I when I exited out and restarted it, it went to my old IP address for home. All right, so now we're sending to our cutter. Promise, 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 promise. And then there we go. Done, done, done. Okay, let's see what happens. So right now it looks like the Juliet is just running my normal lines all the way across. As you can see, it's kind of wisping those lines and kind of coloring in the space of the heart for me already. And then what it's going to hopefully do here in a second is it's going to come back and it's going to be able to adjust and make that outside contour too. So let me go ahead and see if I can zoom in just a little bit more for you. Whoops, there we go. Alrighty. All right, so it looks like it's almost done with the first series of lines and it's going up to the two little humps of the heart. But this is actually really cool. You guys are seeing actual testing in real time right now. And this is like what we do a lot in the office, where we just kind of play with something and we see if it works. So I'm really happy that you guys are sitting on the live with me right now and we're kind of testing this all out together, because now what you guys can do is you can go back home and you can try this out for yourself and impress everybody that you know. So now it looks like it filled out the first series of lines, which had small gaps in between them. And now it's going in between all of those gaps to give me a really nice, you know, saturation of color. Actually, Adam, come look at this. Sorry. This is the part where we break the third wall a little bit. See how it's like filling in everything.
That's insane.
That's awesome. Give the hand a wave really quick to the camera. It's right here. There you go. that was Adam's hand for you. We don't show Adam's face, we just show his hands. All right, cool. Yeah, that looks really good. All right.
So crisp.
Can you send me a Teams message on an After Dark on all like pens and marker stuff? Because I think we're gonna have to do this now. All right, so cool. Now it's right to the end. Let's see what it does next. It looks like now it's just trailing the border of that heart. And then now it's done. And just like that, perfectly colored in heart. Look at that. Look at that. Lenore's so happy I'm in Australia and the day's just getting started. Looks like you have a lot of stuff to work on today, Lenore. I love it. Look at that. That's awesome. Let's pop it on the overhead really quick before we end the live, just so you guys can see kind of up close and personal that final result. So not only were we able to do a really fun marker test, we showed you a fine line test, but now we actually showed you how to fill in a color. And you know what? The nice thing is, Kelly says it looks like chocolate. You know what? Maybe I'm not going to eat it because I don't know. I know our stuff is CPSI compliant. I don't know if Crayola is, so I'm just going to leave it. But not only did we do something fun with the marker to show you something brand new that literally we just kind of discovered today. Also, a couple of really fun new magnets from Mrs. Roach over at the kids' school. And because it's Mom's Day, you know, I mean, the wife gets to see her Mother's Day gift a little early, but whatever. You know, this is a fun little one you guys can do at home. I want to thank our friends over at Creative Fabrica for the design for the actual box itself. Obviously, our graphic design team is awesome, creating really great stuff all the time. I was able to pull this out of the actual design library, and I'll take credit for this one, I guess. This one I'll take a little credit for kind of finding this out. But here nor there, if it wasn't for all of the team here at Siser and just the way that we like to innovate and we like to create new things. With that said, you guys have a wonderful day. Happy crafting, happy creating. We hope that you guys enjoyed this live. I hope that you guys get a chance to replay. Just so you know, for anybody out there too, these lives are going to be bi-weekly on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern now, at least from now in the interim. And with that, the next live, I need you guys to do me a huge favor. I think it's already listed on Facebook, isn't it, Adam? For the cutter comparison one?
Yes, it is actually.
Okay. I need everybody in here. If you love me, you love learning from me, you love watching us here at Siser and creating with us, I need you guys to go over to number one, our YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe to YouTube if you haven't already. We're trying to build that platform up as big as we can, but also make sure that you head over to our Facebook and already get yourself registered for the next live. I'm telling you, I'm doing a side-by-side cutter comparison between the Juliet, the Bug, and Silhouette. We're going to have some fun, but until next time, you guys, we love you. Stay creative. Bye, everybody.